Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin. I think we've seen fantastic price action today. Bitcoin reached today a level of around 31.5k. That was in line with the expectations for Bitcoin to push higher within this possible wave one. Yeah, as explained in the last videos, I'm leaning towards this wave count here, this white wave count, especially as long as the 28,700 level is holding. I have now readjusted this slightly based on latest price action, but we get to that in a minute. Did you realize that today's high is basically the highest price Bitcoin has reached in over a year? So I find that pretty cool. It's pretty bullish. Nevertheless, of course, you know, we always need to be mindful that price could still come down. I always need to mention that because there are a lot of new people in the space, just to make people embrace the uncertainty mindset. Bear in mind, anything can happen in these markets, but as long as our pivot points are holding, we can focus on the current scenario here. Now, very important, short term or medium term, and I just want to repeat that, Bitcoin's scenario here that a wave one peaked end of March, came down in a wave two into our trend reversal area and reversed, rallied quite substantially in the last few days. And now we're getting towards the end of this possible wave one. With today's spike, we have a possible 5-wave move complete or nearly complete. And we can now be looking forward for a wave two pullback. Now, don't misunderstand it. A lot of people do that very often if they don't understand how to understand the analysis, right? It is very important to understand that this can still extend higher until we don't have a substantial signal that wave two pullback has started. You know, I can't guarantee that we are already in the wave two, but I have still placed this pullback area now onto the chart. It is support, yeah, it is support. It doesn't mean price has to come down that low. I want to make that very, very clear. It is a range, okay? So should we start wave two now, then this is a range between the high here and the 26,190 level. This is bullish support, okay? Below the 26,190 level measured against the latest high, this is most likely not a wave two anymore, and we have a risk of breaking down much deeper, maybe all the way down to 22k. So to remain in this white wave count, in this possible bullish breakout pattern to the upside, which could send us higher in a larger third wave rally, price now needs to stay above 26,190. That target or that support area will change slightly if price moves up a little bit more in wave one. Again, I have no strong indication that wave one has stopped and that wave one has peaked. But if it comes down now, then the active range is between the latest high and the 26,190 support. Okay, so it's a range. It doesn't mean price needs to come down all the way. That often happens when people are a bit disappointed when price only pulls back a little bit. That's why what I like to do, and I don't tell you what to do, but it is sort of a reasonable strategy and how to trade Elliott Wave. You have this sort of triangle pyramid approach that you can use, where you start to scale in. You know, if you maybe take some profits here, you know, I don't know when you entered, maybe people entered here and took some profits here. Maybe you also adopted the pyramid approach in taking profits like that, yeah. Taking a little bit of profits here, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. Biggest position size sort of at the top in theory. And now in a pullback, you start to scale in small, bit larger, bit larger, bit larger, bit larger, stopped out, okay? So that's how to trade the range as per Elliott Wave in a 1-2 setup. It doesn't mean in this strategy, you basically do not wait. And that's just one way of doing it. Yeah, but it avoids FOMO, because if you wait for, let's say, price to come down to 27k and it doesn't, and you're not entering, then you will feel FOMO in the third wave to the upside. However, when you start to scale in, slowly, be very much aware of your position size, because you don't want to risk too much when you're far away from the stop. Scaling in. The price doesn't need to come down that low, yeah? How do I determine targets? I determine a target for this pullback only in a way that I have a standard retracement area. It doesn't need to come down that low. It can be a bit more shallow, especially in a very bullish environment. But when I have an A wave complete, it's a 3-wave move. When I have an A wave complete and a B wave, then I can calculate a reasonable target for a C wave. Without an A wave and a B wave, I can't do it. And also they are not super reliable, but they are levels to watch, okay? So I need the A wave and the B wave, but sometimes it's a bit messy, and that's why one way of doing this is to trade the range is in this pyramid approach. Now, a grid bot does exactly the same thing, okay? So just be aware of that, okay? So just want to mention that, want to make that very clear. Yeah, not that I'm telling anybody price now needs to come down to 28.1K, which is the 50% retracement level. I'd like to see that because it is just, in looking at probabilities, the most common level, you know, at least a 50% retracement for a wave 2. But we've seen examples where people waited for deep pullbacks, and this very deep pullback just doesn't happen because in an uptrend, sometimes pullbacks are shallow, okay? But this has been a pretty good 5-wave move to the upside, worked out reasonably well. Yeah, explained to you in the previous video that as long as we're holding here the yellow support box, the focus can be on higher. Yeah, it did hold, it entered our support area and is rallying already. So it's pretty decent, it works out nicely. And yeah, happy days, okay? In the end, it became a very shallow wave 4, but as I said in the last video, minimum expectations for this wave 4 are and were fulfilled. So be ready at any point for a possible move to the upside. Now, this could extend higher now in a 5th wave. This could be a high B wave, yeah, and that we still are in a wave 4. So this is now just the analysis on the micro level. I want to say something here. We have still wave 4 support. So as you might know, there is always the chance, especially if the move down was in 3 waves, that this is just a high B wave in wave 4. It is possible. How would that look like? It would look like as follows. A wave down, overshooting B wave, and it comes down once more in the wave C. Very much possible, especially as it's Saturday tomorrow, and typically on a weekend we see those wave 4s play out. This is still possible because the move up was only in 3 waves so far. So we are here between, on the lower time frame, between, okay, wave 4 could still be ongoing, or because it didn't come very deep, so wave 4 could still be ongoing, or wave 5 has already started. That's very important to understand. Yeah? And therefore, how do we translate that into, not the strategy I just told you, a possible strategy, but how do we translate that into, okay, how do we understand that? So my assumption is, as long as it's holding 28,540, the 50% retracement, I assume this is still a wave 4, or we are already in a wave 5. So we can push directly higher very short term. Yeah, but it has this smaller range to play with. If it breaks below 28,540, it can all the way come down to 26,190, but I would then assume it's a wave 2, and it completed the 5 waves already. That's the uncertainty we deal with, but I think it's a pretty clear statement because it gives you the idea what I just mentioned, that the bullish range is all the way down to 26,190. Yeah, it can still push higher in the 5th wave. Yeah, in 5 waves. Can't rule out that this is a high B wave. Yeah, you never can rule that out. I currently assume it's a wave 5, but Ethereum looks more like a high B wave at this stage. Nevertheless, the support areas are clear, the pivots are clear against which we can move higher. And I've already brought the wave 2 support area onto the chart. So this is now the level that needs to hold really overall in the wide larger pattern that needs to hold to move higher, 26,190. But I assume this will now lead to a few days of correcting. Yeah, maybe in the very short term it can push a bit higher, but bear in mind tomorrow is Saturday, so it might not do very much. Yeah, that's my update about Bitcoin. I hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.